99.8 FM. KCC Live.
Hi there, you're listening to Amy on KCC Live for the Out There show. This week's show, we're going to be talking about body positivity. So the body positivity movement is a group of people that concentrates an effort to create a healthier and more realistic body image. And it's believed it'll help improve the self-esteem and mental health of young people and people in general as well. So it stems from the 60s, from the fat acceptance movement, and it was to do with feminism and stuff as well. So it was basically saying, you know, the politics and stuff and the discrimination against people who were fat back then, that was like the way these words is it. But nowadays it covers various issues, which are social media, celebrity culture and unrealistic body goals, body shaming, health effects, tattoos and disabilities. So basically it covers a few different things and a few sort of issues that we have around bodies and stuff, and sort of tries to combat that. But of course there's criticisms as well. There's two sides to every argument, and they're saying things like you are trying to normalise fat people as being okay when it's not healthy and things like that. That it's very, very women orientated. It looks a lot on women. Hopefully this show we're going to try and look at the male side of it as well, but a lot more of the information is based on women. It makes it harder for people to maintain a healthy weight if they're more accepting of how they look. So we will be looking at the difference between health and what you feel, what you are, sort of thing, because that can be separate, but people like to lump it in together. More after this song. So we're lucky enough to get into the studio one of the contenders for the Miss Curve UK crown. We'll be having an interview with her shortly, but also we took a look at the Miss Curve UK pageant and what it does, and off their website, their sort of line is, we hope to encourage young ladies and women of different shapes and sizes from all walks of life to take part, to show the world how amazingly diverse Great Britain really is. A plus size beauty pageant that encourages women who are UK dress size 14 and over to enter now. We believe this pageant will give all women the confidence to pursue their dreams and conquer their fears. Now, personally, as a plus size woman, I love the idea of this. I love that there's someone out there that wants to celebrate plus size bodies. And I can see how, you know, there's the other side of that. There's the health versus fat thing, and we will cover that later on. But at the same time, as someone who is plus size, I don't see why I can't feel comfortable in my body. I understand it may be unhealthy, but I want to feel good as me and feel comfortable. And that's what I think the body positive movement's about. It's about feeling comfortable in your own skin and being yourself. So it took me a long time. Like when I was younger, oh my gosh, I hated my body, hated it. It's no secret to those that know me and that listen in that I'm curvy, I'm plus size, and constantly, you know, you get told you were fat and things like that. Even when I wasn't fat, I was still told I was fat because I was curvy. And I went through a really bad time at the beginning of my 20s where I just really disliked myself. Like, I'm sure people know, like, you go through that really dark time where you're not sure, you don't fit your skin. And then I was asked to do a burlesque performance, and the idea of doing a burlesque performance when you're not comfortable with your body, believe me, is not one you take easily, because who would want to see me take my clothes off? But then I was really encouraged by my friends and stuff, and then they told me it was going to be raising money for breast cancer awareness, so I was in. That was it. As soon as I was raising money for that, I was doing it. So we went and we did lessons, and, you know, we learned how to do the art of burlesque and, you know, removing gloves and tassels and things like that. And I did it with a friend, and we ended up raising about £1,000 for breast cancer, and I was so proud that I'd managed it, and I was even prouder that I'd managed to get up on a stage and do that and feel good doing it, and I did. I felt great, and then I found that as I got older, I'm more and more comfortable in my skin. Sure, I'd love to be a size 8, that'd be really nice, but I'm never going to be. That's not how my body is built. So I try and stay healthy. I stay active. I go out with my children. I go on walks. You know, I swim. I do things like that. I look after what I'm eating. But at the same time, I'm comfortable how I am and I love me how I am. And I think that's a really good big step for body positivity, that you can be separate from being healthy and you can accept yourself and love yourself no matter what. If you're not happy, change it. We've got some great stories from a few people who they've gone above and beyond and they've changed what they didn't like to now be more comfortable. And we're going to hear from them shortly. But for now, Miss Curve UK.
Hi, my name is Claire and today I'm talking to Sophie, who is currently representing Liverpool in Miss Curve UK.
Hey there.
Hi, Soph. So, why did you first decide to get involved in Miss Curve UK?
Okay, so my friend told me to get involved with it for months. And I was always so busy judging myself and finding reasons not to do it. And then one day I just thought, what the hell? And it was the best step I've took.
So, some people have different views on beauty pageants. Some people think that they're a bit out of date and a bit sexist even.
Yeah.
What do you think on that?
I mean, I can't really speak for other pageants because I've never been involved with any other pageant. But the thing I like about Miss British Beauty Curve is the fact that the pageant's about diversity being divine. You gain points on how much press, how much awareness you're raising and how much charity work you do. So it's not all about your looks. It's like, it's just, you can kind of get out there and get the message out there.
Yeah, it sounds like it's more to do with what you can offer as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I can't fault it. And for me, this pageant is not, it's not just based about your looks. It's not as, what's the word I'm looking for?
Vanity based?
Yeah.
Do you find it quite liberating and supportive then?
Like, the pageant's so supportive. We've got like a little private group on Facebook that we all talk about on a daily basis, giving tips, advice and just general chit chat. Like, they're very, very supportive, like on a day-to-day basis. Even like putting a positive quote there in the morning, saying good morning to each other. Like, everyone like helps each other, so it's really nice to be involved in.
I think the world needs a bit more of that at the minute, doesn't it? There seems to be this movement of, let's all sort of help each other and support each other rather than tearing each other down. And it sounds like this is a perfect place for that to happen.
Yeah, it's so good. It really is.
In terms of your own body image, being part of the Miss Curve UK, do you feel like it's helped you with how you look at your own body and how you think about yourself?
Yeah, totally. Like, I'm so happy physically, but the thing that people like don't understand with these pageants is you've got to be mentally happy as well. You're never going to be happy with your body until you truly believe in yourself and in your own mind. And you've got to think to yourself every single day that you are worthy and you are good enough. And until you truly believe that in your mind, you're not going to be happy. So you need to work on your mental state before you can start working on yourself physically, because otherwise there's always going to be that demon there telling you that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
So it's really important to be, you need to trust yourself and believe in yourself.
So is that the message that you would give to others about being body positive and having a healthy body image?
Yeah, of course. It's just to be yourself, and if you're positive about yourself and your body, you'll find that other people will be too. Like, it's like the law of attraction. If you're happy, you'll attract happy and positive vibes to you. And to be honest, on this journey, I've been so happy and nothing but good things have come to me. So
amazing.
It's perfect.
It's all about them positive vibes, and what you put out there will come back.
Definitely, of course.
So you've said that you'd rather be a 16 than an 8.
Yeah.
And I know people feel comfortable at different sizes.
Yeah.
It's not one size fits all.
Yeah, of course.
So why do you feel happier as a, what they call a plus size?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very important for me to make clear that just because I am happier as a 16 than I was an 8, that I'm not saying that you can't be happy as a size 8, and that you're only happy if you're going to be a 16. I mean, for me personally, just on my journey, I'm happier as a 16 than I was an 8. But if you're an 8 and you're happy, then that's perfect. If you're a 16 and you're happy, that's perfect. As long as you're happy with yourself, then that's all that really matters. And for me, like I've just said, on this journey, when I was at my smaller size, I was always constantly trying to strive for more physically. where now, to be honest, at a size 16, I'm just grateful to have a healthy and working body that I love. And I don't think there's many people like around Liverpool or in the UK that do that. People just don't love themselves. They're always constantly comparing themselves to other people, or I want to be this way, or I want to be that way, or I wish that this was like that. And of course I have days like that, but at the same time, you've got to love yourself first, because if you don't, no one else will.
Exactly. I fully agree with everything that you're saying. I think it's so important for us to all just love ourselves a little bit more and find your, find where you're happy in your own skin.
And it's so easy to do. Like, all you're doing
starts in
is
the
loving
mind.
yourself. It's all, it definitely just comes from your mind. And as soon as you switch it on and you sort of tap into your own mind.
Yeah, and not compare yourself to others. Do you think that social media has anything to do with...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Social media is terrible.
Yeah. There's a lot of filters and auto-tune and...
Yeah, I mean, like, I obviously use filters and things like that. Like, I think we all do.
We all do it.
But, I mean, it's very different when you're not in a mental state where, like, you're really, really not happy with yourself. Or, like, it goes into such, like, deep, dark places, body image. And I just think it's terrible that, like, that people think the way that they do. Like, I'm sure there's many girls that have got themselves into deep dark places over the body image, and really all they have to do is just tune that mind into just being a happier place and don't care what anybody else thinks.
Well, it sounds like you're in a really positive place in your life, and that Miss Curve UK has only enhanced that, and best of luck with it all. And I think we could do with a little bit more self-love, with what you were talking about.
Definitely.
So best of luck with the competition.
Thanks.
Have fun.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Soph.
I was lucky enough to have a conversation with a lovely lady, friends of a friend called Anna, and she was telling me about how she'd sort of changed the way she looked to make herself feel better. So what she'd done is she'd lost weight. She decided it was time, after, some turbulent things going on in her life, to get a handle on it, lose some weight. She joined Slimming World. So she ended up losing 11 stone in Slimming World, which is absolutely amazing. And she's only £6 off her target, which I also think is fantastic. Like, she's done walking club, she's done burlesque, she keeps fit, she eats healthy now. And she was saying, like, a counsellor said to her every day, look in the mirror and say something that you love about yourself. And I really like that as a good body positive message, that, if you are feeling down, remind yourself of them little things. She was saying that she's completely changed her life. She's got more respect for herself. She feels more out there. She doesn't walk with her head down anymore. She walks with her head up. And she makes an effort not to shy away from people now. Like, she's met new people. She's done big walks. She's done 5Ks, the Santa Dash, Whittle Coastal Walk. And that's a 20-mile walk. It's made her fearless, she said. And I love that. I love that she used the word fearless, to be going from feeling so bad, doing something about it, and now feeling fantastic. Doesn't matter if it's losing weight, or if it's changing your appearance, or if it's just telling yourself that you love yourself in the mirror every day. The fact that she made that and she made herself feel fearless is amazing. She's saying she's also starting an Instagram blog and a diary and stuff like that. So if anyone wants any of that information, you can hit me on Facebook, Amy at KC Live. And yeah, she was saying, like, it's not a problem for her anymore. She's got everything she wants. She got all her confidence back. What she was aiming to do, she managed to get it. And I was chatting to her on Facebook, and I'm going to sort of read out the last message she gave me, because I was like, yes, queen. And it was a very dark place, and she turned her back on herself, so she'd lost sight of who she was. She said, I'd look in the mirror and I'd out loud call myself names, and bought into someone else's opinion of herself, that she'd hit rock bottom, and then went, no, I'm beautiful, I'm worth more. And yeah, I don't have the perfect body, but it's my body and I love it. And now I need to look after it. And I really love that. I love that she's got this mentality, that she's gone from being in that dark place to now being somewhere where she is comfortable and she feels fabulous. And Anna, if you're listening, you're amazing. And thank you so much for sharing your story. More after this. The next thing that I'd like to talk about is social media. So when I put it out there, I put it out on my own social media. I was like, what would you guys like me to talk about body positivity? And time again, airbrushing kept coming up. People not being the way they really look kept coming up, and people's ideal of beauty given to us by the media. So it was really good. I follow Stacey Solomon on Facebook, and a picture had come up that she posted that she'd done for a magazine where she made a point of showing the picture that wasn't airbrushed and then one that was, and was like, this is what we're up against. I don't look like this, it's fake. And I love that she was brave enough to stand up there, say, no, I don't want to be photoshopped. This is the real me. And I find her a real sort of breath of fresh air about it, because you've got people out there like Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, people like that, who, they've had surgery, they look like absolute flawless models. They get airbrushed, they have all kinds, and women have to live up to that. And I don't think that it's healthy, especially not for young girls. We were talking about this in an earlier show about how social media can affect mental health and stuff of young girls, because they see these beautiful, perfect images and don't realise that they're airbrushed. It's unobtainable for an awful lot of people, which is why we should be learning to love ourselves how we are and the things that we do like about ourselves. We were talking about in the station about how beauty changes as well, the things that people feel are beautiful. So, we had things like Rubenesque women, then, at the flapper times, we had like a boy sort of frame, very boxy, square, no chest, things like that. And then we went back to curvy in like the 40s and 50s, and people like Marilyn Monroe. But you also had Audrey Hepburn, then later on you had Twiggy, who was stick thin. And then we keep bobbing between like really, really thin, like in the 90s, people like Kate Moss made it, chic to be thin. And then now we're going back into the more curvier ladies again, going back to like Nicki Minaj and Kim Kardashian and people like that, where it's sort of, it's almost expected to be a certain shape. But it does change through the years. I was saying, like, men as well are being more open about the type of women that they like. The songs of Drake's where it talks about how he likes BBWs, which is big, beautiful women. And, I was made up when the song by Mika come out and it was Big Girls, You Are Beautiful. That one I was like, yeah, I like this. I'm a big girl. I'm beautiful. I love that any sort of body positive songs, and I'm out there, Meghan Trainor singing about how she's all about the bass and refusing to be airbrushed and stuff like that. We're also talking about how a lot of women who are plus size are really badly typecast. So we're slowly getting more and more female actresses and people like Melissa McCarthy, who they're typecast as the fat, funny woman. You very rarely have like a plus size sort of siren in a film or anything like that. It's always the funny sidekick. I really love that Melissa McCarthy seems to be sort of breaking those boundaries though. Like, she's got films now that are about herself. She's not just a sidekick anymore and things like that. We're going to pick this back up and talk about the likes of Tess Holliday and people like that after this song. Hi, welcome back. You're listening to Amy on Out There at KCC Live. We're talking about the body positive movement, and we're talking about body positivity in relation to weight at the moment, about how someone weighs. So we've just been talking about airbrushing that in the media, but another person who's really quite sort of out there and, is really campaigning for body positivity is a model called Tess Holliday. Now, I follow her on Facebook and I love her posts and I love how open and honest she is and how much she loves herself despite being a plus size model. But every picture she posts, there will be dozens and dozens and dozens of people who will do something called fat shaming. Now, fat shame is where you turn around and say, well, you're fat, you shouldn't be. Being a model, you're setting a bad example. Things like that. So, people talk about health and being fat. And it seems that people can't get over the fact that you can't be beautiful if you're not healthy. So being healthy is lovely, and everyone should strive to be healthy and look after themselves. But at the same time, you can't put anyone or everyone in a cookie cutter. You can't say everyone should be a size 10 and have muscles and, be beautiful or be skinny or be big or whatever, because we're all individual. So Tessa's argument is, yeah, okay, I'm plus sized, I'm fat, fine. I'm also healthy. I look after my children. I exercise. I do X, Y, and Z. So it's that different sort of, it's looking at it differently, that it doesn't matter if you're not healthy, you can still be beautiful, you can still be appreciated. Another one is Hayley Hasselhoff, David Hasselhoff's daughter. She was over in Liverpool a little while ago for the Curve Fashion Festival, which is a plus size fashion festival. She's another big advocate for plus size models, and, you know, no fat shaming. I mean, all you have to do is type in plus size videos, things like that, and you'll find on YouTube dozens and dozens of videos doing what's called fat shaming and being like, no, you're fat, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. Granted, you may be fat and it might not be your cup of tea, but it doesn't mean that you should share that opinion to someone else and make them feel like rubbish because of it. Christine at the radio gave me this great, she found me this great Instagrammer who's called Body Positive Panda, and I'm going to share with you one of her quotes, and it was, step-by-step guide for teaching a stranger on the internet that you don't like how they look. So this doesn't even go for weight. This can be for anything. Step 1, sit down. Step 2, have a glass of water. Step 3, remind yourself that other people's bodies are none of your business. Step 4, carry on with your life. And I like that. I like that, you know, if you don't like something or someone, you don't have to give your opinion, especially not if they're going to make you feel like rubbish. It's not fair and it's not on. We all deserve to feel like we're loved, like we're wanted, you know, and not made to feel awful because of the way we look. There's nothing wrong with having confidence. And that's what a lot of it comes down to. If you can find a way to be confident about yourself and love yourself, that's what's important. If you want to improve it, but that's up to you. No one should pressure you to do that. We'll have more after this song. We're going to look at Serena Williams and what she had to say in Vogue about body positivity. And then we're going to be speaking to Jace, who's a personal trainer.
99.8 FM. KCC Live.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Out There show on KCC Live. I'm Amy. And now we're going to look at Serena Williams and what she had to say in Vogue. She was asked what advice she'd give her daughter, Alexis Olympia. She said that through her career, she's lived by her own beauty rules and would pass these 5 things on. Everyone knows Serena Williams, I'm assuming. She's a tennis player. She's had all kinds of awards and stuff. And she is very much an advocate for sort of being yourself and living by your own rules. So that was her first one. Live by your own standards. Ignore body shamers and people who will compare you to others. And I think we can all sort of sympathise with that in day-to-day life. We've all experienced people who will say, well, you're not like her. Or maybe you could have this like her, or she's got a nicer one of theirs, or he's got a better one of them, or more muscles, or anything like that. So I definitely think that's a good piece of advice. A second one is tune out negativity. So again, I think we can all agree, you know, haters gonna hate. There's always going to be someone who's going to want to drag you down, and that could be because they don't feel great about themselves. It could be just that they're a bit of a nasty pasty. I mean, you never know. It could be. I can't imagine that anyone actually gets up of a morning and goes, I'm just going to try and waste as many people's days as I can and make them feel bad. I don't think there's people out there like that. But there could be reasons, but still, it's not good to make other people feel bad and give negative comments, but we do receive them. Everybody receives them from time to time. No matter how gorgeous you are, you know, no matter how confident you are, there's always someone that'll have a comment that you may take to heart. It can also be worse if you have some mental issues, things like anxiety and stuff like that. A little comment could be 10 times worse, and people don't even realise it. You will take it and worry over it. So tune out the negativity. Fantastic. Her next one was beauty isn't one size fits all. Here. I'm definitely behind that one. You know, no matter what your size is, you can be beautiful. You've got to accept yourself and be positive about it, is what she said. And again, I agree. If anyone takes anything away from this show, you know, let it be that you're beautiful no matter what size you are. You just make it that you're happy about yourself, because that's what's important. Everybody else's opinion of you is none of your business. It doesn't matter. What matters is your opinion of yourself. So the one after that is keep your eye on the prize. You don't have time to be brought down. You've got too many things to do. Don't let others distract you. Again, I completely agree. You live your life and let others worry about what they want to worry about. You just remember what you want in life and you go for that goal. It doesn't matter what people think. Your next one is get comfortable with yourself. For every negative comment, there's about 300,000 positive. Be okay with it. Be okay with yourself. Know that there are going to be people that are going to make bad comments. Pay no heed. Ignore them. You know, that's their issue, not yours. As long as you're living the best life you can live and you're comfortable in your own skin. Right. Up next, a different sort of view on things. We spoke to Jace, who's a personal trainer and a fitness instructor. Here's what he had to say about body positivity after this song. You're listening to Amy on Out There, and I've got Jason the station, who is a fitness instructor. How long have you been working as a fitness instructor for?
Just under 6 years now. 6 years this year.
And you're saying you do some personal training as well?
Yeah, I started out as a personal trainer and then I've slowly transitioned into an instructor.
So we're talking about body positivity in this show, and we figured that you'd have some good answers for our questions. So do you think that there's a lot of pressure for people to look in a certain way nowadays?
I think it's just getting more and more pressure on people because obviously it was just magazines years ago. Now they've got magazines, social media. So everyone comes in and everyone's got the idol that they want that body, they want this body, or they want this bum, that bum. It's just more and more each time. A
lot of it is also plastic surgery and stuff like that. People have got that sort of unobtainable goal.
Yeah, I think because people come in and now, because it looks so natural, you can't tell if they've actually worked for it or they've just gone under the knife for it. So
yeah,
it is hard to decide.
Yeah, people coming in asking for Kim Kardashian's bum. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, in the sort of industry you're in, do you feel like there's a bit of a pressure on you to look in a certain way?
Not so much being an instructor, but as a PT, especially starting out, I think you are required to look a certain way, even though it doesn't say you're a better person trainer because you are in shape or you're not. But a lot of people, if they don't know your background and what you're good at, they do look at your physique to see, oh well, he knows the stuff. He's got like bulging biceps, or a lot of them with the male instructors, it is your bum.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I thought it'd be like the arms, the big like hulky sort of Mr. Motivator arms and stuff.
It is a lot, but a lot of, I think.
Maybe that's just an excuse to look at your bum.
Yeah. I think it's because it like comes in thumbs, so obviously your bum is the main thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not hidden.
Right, I'm with you. So, do you, in your classes, are you finding it's mainly male, it's mainly female, is it a mix?
It did used to be a lot just female, but now you do get men coming, and it's not men losing weight, even though we do get a lot of that. It's now men who are perfectly shaped, they're in shape, they're super fit, but people are making comments that they're not bulging biceps and they haven't got the six-pack abs and stuff like that. So it is coming to where men are now feeling a bit under more pressure to look a certain way as well.
So it's that sort of unobtainable goal again, but it's going over to males too.
Yeah, and again, it's just down to the fact that it's all in the media and social media. Everyone's got bulging like arms because the thing go, but it's unrealistic because they're seeing that they can do it in 6 minutes. These 6 minutes workouts, which 6 minutes is just only what you see. It's not what goes on behind.
Of course, yeah. So, do you think like a lot of that is then it's the media, and then people feel like they've got to sort of fit in with that, and then it's trickling down?
Yeah, I think it's the social media and in magazines. It's creating an unrealistic goal because we see it as just they've seen it in like I said before, 6 minutes. There's no way that they're getting them in 6 minutes because they've got personal trainers that are living with them and feeding them. So there's a lot more that goes on behind that the media don't show. And then even when they do get the biceps, it's all photoshopped, a lot of it. So the biceps aren't bulging as the way that they are in the picture. They probably are bulging because obviously you can they are achievable to get goals, but it's just
no one's perfect.
Yeah,
I can see that. Like we were talking earlier about a lot of the airbrushing and stuff like that goes on in the media, and you mentioned about Stacey Solomon about the picture she put up. So I definitely agree with that. What type of classes is it that you do?
A range. I do like high intensity workouts to some workouts that are not high intense, like the abs workouts, the legs, bums and tums. Then I do spin, boxing workouts, do them all.
We won't catch you doing Zumba anytime soon, though.
No. Not after, unless I've had a few drinks first.
Thank you very much for coming into the studio, Jason. It's been great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
99.8 FM. KCC Live.
Welcome back. You're listening to Amy on KCC Live on the Out There show. I was speaking to a lady called Leanne. She's a friend of mine who I've known for absolute years, and we were talking about body positivity. And she was telling me about it from another angle. She was saying that when she was younger, she suffered with acne. She was saying it started when she was a teen, and she was diagnosed with polycystic ovaries. And then she developed acne through that, which left a lot of scarring on her cheeks. She said, with it, like looking at photographs and pictures of her friends and stuff on social media, she really felt sort of the need to cover that skin and be perfect and beautiful and airbrushed, which is something we were talking about earlier. We were saying about a lot of the media is airbrushed. A lot of the pictures that we see, they're not necessarily what is true to sort of out there. It's all computer manipulated, which can really not help with body positivity and people feeling good about themselves, because the ideas that they have, it's not going to be what's actually there for real life. She's saying she's always checking makeup in the mirror 24/7. She'd be there every 15 minutes, you know, making sure she needs no touch-ups or anything like that. She'd get obsessed with it to the point that it just consumed her life. And then she started hating the way her hair looked, feeling fat, hating the way that she looked. And then if anybody mentioned anything, a product that they use for acne, she'd take that more as like an insult rather than them trying to help, because, you know, it was something they noticed and they'd highlighted. Even though they had good intentions, it still hurt her even more. Then she said eventually she got to a really bad place and started self-harming and things like that. And, you know, she attempted to take her own life and stuff. And then she got to a point later on where she started looking at other people that suffered with bad acne. So people like Cameron Diaz and Brad Pitt, who've got scarring from suffering, and she started seeing them stripping back the Photoshop and things like that and actually showing themselves. And then she met her partner and her fiance, and he helped her as well to sort of turn the negative into a positive. She got rid of people that she felt were negative in her life, and, you know, her skin has gotten better. She still has breakouts, but not what she used to have, and it can be to do with stress levels and things like that. She's saying that her fiance is going to pay for like laser resurfacing, where the map out the scar tissue, and, you know, that it can make it a smoother sort of surface. And then she's saying like she doesn't feel the need anymore to, you know, harm herself or anything like that, but she can appreciate what she's got. So her story is going from one of being really sort of worried about how she looks, and then coming out of it and feeling a lot more confident. I think sometimes that can be to do with getting older and things like that as well. We tend to focus less like on the way we look as we get older. We don't sort of obsess on it as much, you know. It's that sort of teenage girls you see with a lot more makeup on and things like that. And I mean, Leanne's my age, I'm 28, and I think we've sort of got to that point where, you know, that the people that love you because they love you. It's not because you're perfect and look absolutely beautiful. That can be part of it, but it's not the whole. They tend to love you as the person. So thank you, Leanne, for sharing your story with us.
This is 99.8 FM KCC Live.
Welcome back. We're talking about body positivity, and what we were talking about now is things like skin and stuff. And I think there's different things that can come in and include in body positivity. We were talking to a lady, Kat, who had been researching and looking at how people who are victims of acid attacks and burns, what their fashion identity was. When we were talking about it in the studio, the name that kept coming up was Katie Piper. For those of you that don't know who Katie Piper was, she was a media personality, and then unfortunately she was attacked. She had sulfuric acid thrown in her face, which left her with really heavy burn scars. But she's kept campaigning and stuff. She did a documentary called My Beautiful Face, which I would recommend watching. It's a good watch. It's informative. And she's got a lovely attitude. She's really positive. She really empowers other people as well. And she does fashion. She does documentaries. She looks at all kinds. So this is what Kat had to say when we interviewed her.
Hello, I'm Catherine Wilkinson, lecturer in Children, Young People and Families in the Faculty of Health and Social Care at Edgehill University. I'm currently working on a number of research projects which explore aspects of body image and identity for young people. One of these projects looks at scoliosis, which is curvature of the spine, and another looks at alopecia, which is hair loss. One of the main projects that I'm working on at the moment looks at burns and scars which young people have, and the way that they use fashion and clothing to sort of manage their new identities. I'm working on this project with a plastic surgeon who works at Wiston Hospital and the Katie Piper Foundation, and Katie Piper has had input on that project herself as well.
So how have you found that women who have experienced burns and scarring are affected in terms of their self-image?
Existing research shows that children, young people and adults with burns and burn-related scars are really impacted by their burns on a psychological level. So those experiencing burns often experience feelings of loss or mourning for their former identity, so the way they looked like before they had their accident. And it's not uncommon for those with burns or scars to experience social isolation and depression.
You found that advances in the beauty industry, things like tattoos and lip fillers, are helping with body image?
I'm particularly interested in the way in which fashion and clothing can be used by children and young people with burns to either attract attention to their burns, conceal their burns, or reveal other aspects of their identity with their burns and scars. I'm also interested in how young people use fashion to convey or communicate a new or potentially altered identity.
What type of things do survivors of acid attacks do to keep themselves positive about their bodies?
We anticipate that our research will reveal something called compensatory practices undertaken by children and young people with burns. This is something that other researchers have found in relation to older women with sagging skin and also pregnant women who have bumps, and how they use clothing to manage their altered images. Compensatory practices essentially means that they make the most of their other unblemished aspects of their appearance. So it could be something as simple as painting their nails, it could be dyeing their hair or styling it differently, or it could be getting tattoos on unscarred skin. We also believe that exercise and healthy eating will be a big focus for young people with burns.
You say that the modern media puts pressure on women who've experienced burns to look a certain way.
I still think that there's a long way to go for people with a visible difference to be fully accepted in society, unfortunately. But charities such as Changing Faces and the Katie Piper Foundation are making steps to ensure that this happens. Katie Piper herself has been really influential in that movement.
You think it's becoming more accepted thanks to people like Katie Piper? Not just for burns victims, but for everyone with physical differences?
The media tends to present those with burns as victims and not survivors. However, this changed with the attack on Katie Piper, as she really turned her situation around and has been so successful. Increasingly, people are seeing that burns shouldn't be the end of a life, but perhaps the start of a new one. I've recently been reading articles in the news about how to apply makeup when you have burns, and with the recent rise in acid attacks in the UK, people are becoming more intrigued and fascinated about beauty practices such as camouflage makeup.
This is 99.8 FM KCC Live.
Hi, welcome back. You're listening to Amy on Out There at KCC Live. So when I first started looking at the body positivity stuff, I put various bits on a few different social media platforms that I'm on, and I asked them what they did to make them feel positive about themselves and about their own bodies. So I got lots and lots of answers back. I got burlesque photo shoots, I got hair, makeup, nails, I got pole dancing. Quite a few people seem to do pole dancing. That one seems to be quite popular for making people feel confident. I got various different forms of exercise, different classes. I got going out and meeting people, things like different social events, board games, things like that. There seems to be a really big array. So this is what a few different people had to say about what they do to keep themselves body positive.
Hi, my name's Josh. To make myself feel good, I like buying new clothes and going to the gym. I think if you ever got a lot of things on your mind, you can go to the gym and it's, it's taken off your mind. You come out with a fresh outlook and you feel fresh and ready to start the day.
Hello, my name is Jess, and what I do to feel good, I cut out fizzy drinks because I've noticed they really give me bad spots. I've actually got a massive one right now on my forehead because I had it must have been a full massive 1 litre. Wait, is 1 litre a big bottle of Coke? I don't even know. It was a massive bottle of Coke anyway. And I also wear face masks just to help with them spots and do a few sit-ups of a night.
Hi, my name's Matty, and I do mixed martial arts and Muay Thai to make me feel better. And it's good for loads of different things, really. It boosts your confidence, get you out and active, thinking about things, and being a part of a gym, then take you a part of a team, and everyone's helping each other. Everyone's working towards the same goals, and it's just good because even just in a technical sort of aspect of it, like if you're in Muay Thai and you're sparring or you're fighting with someone, you can't afford to be thinking about am I fat? My spot's horrible. You're just thinking about that, and it's good in that way because it just makes you think about just positive things as well. If you're feeling down or you're feeling a bit depressed, there's nothing better than just going into a gym and getting on a heavy bag and just punching and kicking and getting all your aggression out. So I'd recommend it for everyone, really, because there's old people, there's young people, there's men, women, people from all walks of life, and I think it is really beneficial to everyone, really.
Hi, I'm Erin, and a few years ago I had issues with my body confidence. After 2 years of pole fitness, my confidence has dramatically increased.
So if I'm having a really bad time and I want to feel good about myself, I just basically have a big poo, get a shower, have a shave, and then I throw a face mask on, and it makes me feel boss. Face masks are dead chilling out. I'm picking it off at the end as well. Oh, yes.
If I'm feeling down or a bit rubbish about my appearance, then what I do is I go to the hairdressers, get a blow dry, get my eyebrows done, and put a face mask on as well when I get home.
99.8 FM KCC Live.
My name's Dom, I'm 26, and I'd probably be described as plus size. Society's view of plus size people is that they think that just because you're fat you're unhealthy and that you don't do exercise. That's not true. I am big and I try and do exercise how I like to do exercise, but there's other things that can get in the way sometimes. So I'm gay, I'm disabled, I don't often feel comfortable in spaces like gyms, and I also don't really like going and running around outside because my eyesight kind of gets in the way. I can't see cars, I can't see people, and it does set me back a little bit. One thing that I did used to do that I really enjoyed was pole dancing. It made me feel really confident, it was really fun. There was a mix of boys and girls in the class, and there was a massive mix of ages as well. There was a woman who was in her 60s who was amazing. She had the most fantastic figure. She was great at doing all the different moves, but everyone had different body shapes and different body sizes. No one was thin, everyone was curvy, everyone was bigger, and that was something really good to see. Pole dancing really made me feel so much better about myself. It made me feel confident, it made me feel attractive, it made me feel like I was having fun and not just exercising. It's definitely something I'd recommend to men and women. It's something fun, it's different. It's not just going to the gym and using machines or using a treadmill or dancing. It's really, really fun, and there's so much you can do with it. It really will completely change how you see your body. When I first started doing it, I was just doing basic moves and could just about hold myself up on the pole, and then after about 4 weeks I was upside down and spinning and holding onto it with just my legs.
So as we just heard from Don there, he mentioned that he is also disabled, and I was having a look around body positivity stuff with people who are disabled as well, and I came across Kerry Burnell. Now, she was a presenter on CBBC, and she had half of her arm amputated. And when she was on CBBC, people were saying, there was people tweeting and stuff saying, oh, she's scared of the kids and stuff like that. I must admit, I was just speaking to Matty in the studio and just saying that, my children, they they weren't bothered. They weren't fussed. They saw her on BBC, pointed out that she'd lost half her arm, and then turned around and went, well, she's got one hand, and that was it. It wasn't a problem. I don't think children tend to be scared. I think it is the reactions and stuff that they hear from other people. They don't tend to judge until they are learned and taught to judge. But she was speaking in the Loose Women Body Stories campaign, and I had a look at that, and basically it was a campaign that they started for women originally, and it was to celebrate the story that their body tells, and view them stripped down and stuff, and were saying they accept their bodies. And then in 2017 they did one where it was men, like male sports personality types, male celebrities, and they were also saying about their body positivity. So there's definitely a movement there. You've just got to find it. There's lots of people who are doing things to promote others feeling really good about themselves. And I think it just goes back to what Serena Williams was saying, where she was saying, haters are going to hate. Someone's always going to have an opinion on you, and you've got to learn to ignore it and just tune it out and look at the positive. So after this song, we're going to be talking about tattoos and piercings as well, because this also comes under body positivity.
This is 99.8 FM KCC Live.
Hi, welcome back. You're listening to Amy on Out There at KCC Live. We're talking now about body positivity in relation to tattoos and piercings. We're going to be hearing from one of Chrissy's friends, G. She's a teacher, and she's going to tell us about the reaction she's had to her tattoos. First, I thought we'd have a little outline of it and what it affects. So basically, in terms of the body positivity movement with tattoo acceptance, it's about people being judged for having visible tattoos, piercings, things like that. From what I can see on the internet, basically it's saying tattoo acceptance in the workplace, it is up. People are a lot more open than what it used to be. It used to be that if you had a tattoo, you'd been to prison. It had that connotation, but it doesn't as much now. But visible tattoos, ones on people's hands, forearms, necks, faces, are still being judged now. Again, we were talking about this in the station, and I was saying I am guilty of this. I am. Especially with piercings. There's certain piercings, when I see them on a person, I judge automatically, and I go, oh, right, that's the type of person they are. I was saying, personally, it's something that I try not to do, but I definitely used to, where I see girls, but the Medusa piercing, the one at the top of their lip, and I'd be a bit like, oh, she obviously lives on a council estate. I'd think of like Vicky Pollard sort of thing, and I shouldn't judge. Admittedly, I will hold my hands up and say that I was wrong and I shouldn't, and I do definitely try not to, but I can see how people jump to them conclusions, especially the older generation, where tattoos and piercings were for rebellious louts. They were for the people that had been to prison, they were for sailors as well, and Navy members and stuff like that. It showed that you'd been in the services for a time, but again, people would judge that. They judge if you've been around the world, you're obviously going to be looking for trouble, you're going to be having a few drinks and things like that. But moving forward now, it's a lot more accepted. I have, on my body, I've got 3 tattoos, and 2 of my tattoos are visible. One is visible if I wear like a vest top, it's on my back. And I think my grandparents would never have had as many tattoos. They'd never. My mum, when she first got a tattoo, she got the world's teeny tiniest rose, little tiny rose on her ankle, because she could cover it. And I don't think she'd have even got it if she hadn't been drunk in Blackpool. Sorry, Mum. But, even then, that was like the 90s. It wasn't as accepted. It was beginning to be more accepted. But I think the last 20 years or so, it's really come forward, and we are accepting it a lot more. And we're looking at tattoos as well as more artistry. So there's a lot of tattoo artists out there now who you'd never see doing a teeny tiny rose in Blackpool. They do full pieces, and it's absolute art. They're beautiful. So this is what G had to say about her experiences of tattoos in the workplace.
Hi, my name's Georgia, and I've got about 20 tattoos.
Whereabouts are they on your body? Are they all visible on a normal day-to-day basis with clothes?
A lot of them aren't visible. Some are on my wrist, and if I wear like a small top without sleeves, I've got arm ones on the upper arm. But other than that, I've got a few on my back, majority on my legs, on my foot, and up the side of me as well.
When did you get your first tattoo? How old were you?
I got my first tattoo when I was 18. I've always wanted tattoos. I don't know why. I guess it's a formal like expression of this is who I am, and I really liked art, and not that I was any good at art, but I really like being creative. So when I was 18, I'd already had my first tattoo idea, which is 2 swallows, one on each wrist. And I had an inset day in college, and my mum just walked in one day and was like, come on, let's go to the tattoo shop and let's get it done. And I was like, what? But she was just going through a phase in her life. Don't know whether it was midlife crisis or not. But she was really enjoying tattoos and getting into them, and she'd found her newfound confidence with them. So, yeah, I got toddled along, and within the next couple of years, I'd stacked up my tattoo count.
And so do all your tattoos have a specific meaning or reason behind them, or are some of them just because?
No, never because. I can't bear people who say, oh, well, I got this star behind my ear. What for? Oh, because I really like stars. No, I'm really sorry, but you're carrying that for the rest of your life. So I find tattoos are a story or a meaning behind something. If you have a lot, like a loved one that you've lost, you carry that with you. If you have a story to tell, you know, that can be portrayed in fine expressions of art, including tattoos. If you've got a symbol or a moral that you always carry with you that never changes, that's on my skin. So I've got various things. I've got a massive like sugar skull candy, which is celebrated the Day of the Dead. Now that's quite a negative, but my dad used to always say to me, find the positives out of the negative. And that's one of the reasons why I got that, so I can keep reminding myself through that expression of art to always stay positive, even when I do feel negative.
Have you found that over the years, I'm not going to ask you your age, but since your first tattoo was at 18, have you found the acceptance of tattoos from general society is more accepted now than maybe what it was at 18?
I've definitely had no barriers when it comes to my work and life. Maybe one time I was working in a school and they asked me to cover up my whole arms to my wrists so they couldn't see, just for a professional reason, which I didn't have a qualm with. But in the line of my work, I've never had any barriers. There's a lot more televised tattoo shows now, and people are always breaking down those barriers of understanding tattoos, and actually they're not something that to be scorned against or like frowned upon anymore. It's an individual, and people need to see past the cover of the book, essentially.
You know, you said you didn't have any qualms with covering your arm up. Why is that? Because it seems to be that a couple of places, a couple of professions or industries, shall we say, prefer people to cover up tattoos for whatever reason. They deem it to be unprofessional for them to be on show, or they might be offensive. And I think that's a whole different subject, having offensive tattoos. But in terms of them not being offensive and it being just, like you said, a meaning or a piece of art in your body, how come it didn't really offend you to cover that up?
Well, all my tattoos are personal. So in my professional line of work, okay, if you need me to cover them up, that's fine, because they're personal to me. So I know I'm still carrying them, and I know I'm still walking around with them, and I know I can still express myself. And I totally understand that my line of work, it means that I have to present myself in a professional manner, and that is fine, because then that also gives me kind of good practice to separate my professional life with my personal life. I work in the line of like schools and with children, and the children are always asking me like, what does that mean? What does this mean? And I always like say, well, this is part of me, and this is when I got it, and stuff like that. And so they're really happy it's a point of conversation almost when they do see it, and to cover it up is actually quite nice, because then when they do get a glimpse of it, they're interested then, and you know, they get to see a different point of life, they get to see a different aspect of me, they get to see someone who's outside of that kind of school environment. So I don't have any issues with covering up at all.
So maybe the perception of some females with tattoos or heavy artwork leads to a judgment or a misconception of who or what that person is or what they represent. So, for example, someone who dresses in all in black or wears eyeliner, some people would argue that's a goth or that's an emo, and they're labelled in a certain way. And I think the same can be said for tattoos. Do you feel that kind of labelling of people with tattoos has lessened over the years with shows like Tattoo Fixers and things like that?
I definitely think the barriers are being broken. Like, I remember walking into my nan's house and she was like, "Oh, cover up, I don't like them on you, I don't like them, you look like, you know, a lady of the night and all this and whatever." And that's cool, she didn't like them, she come from a different generation. So in my outlook of tattoos, you can definitely tell that there's more of a relaxed outlook on tattoos. And you know what, there is more to life than having a bit of ink under your skin, and there is more to life, you know, having a bit of art. People have more offensive artwork on t-shirts these days, and they happily walk around and no one says anything about their clothing. I think labelling is definitely reduced. I've never come across any discrimination or prejudice against my tattoos at all, ever, and I'm quite made up that that's been the case. I know there's been cases where people have had horrendous hate crimes against them purely out of that misconception, which I think needs working on in a separate manner with ignorance and stuff. But I've never been a victim to any kind of negative, other than my nan. Other than my nan, probably never any negative kind of attention against my tattoos as well. And I'm someone that I walk down the street and look quite normal, like wearing like jeans and a top, and it's not until I take my coat off or my jacket off or whatever you start seeing a little bit more of me and stuff, and I quite like that. And when I go on holiday, my friends or family say they're staring at you, and I go, that's fine, they're just curious, it's okay. And I think around the world it's not a thing anymore, it's not a taboo, it's quite open and out, and there's more things in the world that need concentrating on than just a skull on the back of my leg or hearts down my wrist or roses on my chest. Like, it doesn't matter to anyone anymore, I think. And I think pushing it in the media and for the industry pushing it to say, like, we do good tattoos, and there is those horrendous crappy ones and offensive ones out there, but we are an art, we are an expression. We're not just, you know, a silly fumble in Ibiza and we've stuck it on your leg kind of thing. It is an art form, and people are starting to respect that a lot more now.
Yeah, it's not a gimmick as such.
Yeah.
In terms of your confidence, do you feel that having the tattoos and your ability to express yourself maybe increases your confidence? Same way another girl might say having a tan done increases her confidence, or girls who might use fake products, so hair extensions and lashes and stuff. Do you feel that the tattoos bring out a level of confidence in you, or it's something that you do that makes you feel better about yourself?
At times I forget that I have tattoos, so because they're part of me that much, I just forget that they're on my skin and they're part of me. That's I think that's how it should be. If you're getting a tattoo, it's part of you, so it doesn't matter. It should be as normal as like the hair colour on the top of your head or nail varnish on your nails. So I think it's quite normal, but it does give me an essence of confidence, especially when I'm on holiday and you've got to wear your shorts and, you know, your swimsuits and things like that. It's more people to deflect on and have a focus to look at you in that way, creatively and colourfully, and look at the expression of me rather than kind of look at like my body size and my body shape. And so you're just like, hi, I'm Georgia, look at my tattoos, this is lovely, don't look at my like size, badonk like don't. So it does give me a sense of confidence that I can walk up to people and people kind of be distracted by the different parts of me in that essence. But I'm always confident in saying, well, that means that, and this tattoo means this. And I went through a time in my life where I felt quite negative, and then therefore I got this tattoo. So in some ways, it allows me to kind of connect with people better and give me that confidence to walk up to people who have been staring a little bit and go, what's that about? Or I've noticed that one and whatever. And it does give you a bit more of a talking point when you're introducing yourself to people. Would your brain maybe feel that if people were staring, that it now you can address it as being because of tattoos and being quite curious, but do you feel that if you didn't have tattoos, you might take that curiosity about you in a negative way and it might be down to weight? Definitely. If someone was just like peering at me and kind of like pulling a negative face, I'd be like, that is totally down to my body size, because that is my main security. Whereas I've kind of like, it's like going to a shop and buying like a new dress, and you put that new dress on, you feel $1 million, and you forget the size, your shape, your skin colour, the fact that you've got thin, greasy hair, whatever. You put that dress on and you feel amazing. It's a bit like wearing the tattoos in that way. Like when I have my tattoos out and stuff, I know that, or I convince myself that people aren't looking at me for that reason. They're looking at me because there's different pictures on my body that they just like to look at, and the museum's too far away to go and have a look. So, so have a look at me. That's taking a positive, isn't it? So obviously, that's a nice way of looking at it, and I suppose it does break down that barrier, because the assumption that your brain might tell you is that there's a negative look or stare, when natural fact, even without the tattoos, it might not be, and it is just a case of, oh, she's pretty, or oh, do I know her from somewhere? Like, I suppose your brain tells you different things. So have you got any more tattoos planned? Not at the moment. There's been a couple of like, sounds boring, but like birthday cards and things that have like nice paintings on and stuff, which I've kept aside and gone, oh, I like that. But I haven't connected a meaning to it yet. So I definitely want to memorialise my mum, who passed away last year, so because I want to carry her with me all the time. So I definitely want something to memorialise her. But other than that, I haven't really got anything. I think when I got my tattoos, I went through a phase of like discovering myself and being confident with myself and going, do you know what, this is me, and this is who I am, and this is how I'm going to express myself. And I do not regret any tattoo, because the values I had at 18 are still with me now, because I was sure at 18 that this is the way I was, and this is the way I wanted to be, and I haven't changed since, and I carry them with me, and they're comfortable on my skin, and they'll never change. I will never enhance them. I will never edit them. I will never cover them up. So I've probably slowed down now, because I know who I am, and my body says it for itself. But along the way, I'll definitely add to the chapters of me skin. And for anyone who's listening who's contemplating a tattoo, and maybe for the right reasons, I'm assuming you've given them a thumbs up. Yeah, definitely. Just make sure like it is connected to a reason, or like it's to memorialise someone, or to remember someone, or remember who you are and things like that. Don't like keep it for you. Don't put it on like your wrist, because Cheryl Cole's got one on her wrist. Don't do that. If you want to put it somewhere private, like your foot, because you don't like flip-flops, you'd always put socks and shoes on, put it on your foot. It'll hurt, but put it there. But definitely do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for the wrong. And peer pressure is a bad thing, so because you've got to live with it, not your peers. So please just do it for the right reasons, and you'll be more comfortable in your skin once you've done it. You won't have this like niggle on your leg or whatever that you think, oh, I need to get rid of that, and it'll cost you more money as well.
99.8 FM KCC Live.
Welcome back. You're listening to Amy on Out There at KCC Live. We're coming to the end of our show on body positivity now, and I wanted to share a quote with you from Body Positive Panda, who we were talking about earlier. She's on Instagram. You can check her out. And the quote is, what if we refuse to let the way our bodies look stop us from living our lives? What if we just started living them? Because the truth is that life isn't happening 10 pounds from now. It's here. It's happening. And every day that we spend obsessing over how our bodies look is a day that passes us by. And I think that's really poignant. I think people spend a lot of time worrying about the way they look, and they don't realise that it is passing them by. You're spending your life miserable trying to diet and not living it. So, go live it. Go enjoy what you are. Be comfortable with who you are. And, as Mama Ru says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love anybody else?